Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your favorite odd rocker, audio discourse. And yeah, I haven't been showing my face a lot. No, I'm not hiding from anybody. Just have been doing videos that have nothing to do with my face. And fun thing is, now that I found out how to make videos without using my face, I've been really rocking that. Anyway, I just thought I would say what's up. I don't have any live streams coming up. I have to wait another month till my strike gets worn out. But I just thought I would come on the channel because I saw a very interesting debate. Um, I don't know if it was more of a conversation, and I'm glad it was held like that. Even though there was some disagreement, this conversation, I won't call it a debate. It was just a really really respectful conversation. And I think we should always have respectful conversations like this instead of browbeating each other for things that we don't agree on. I know I'm sorry if I've ever done that to anyone because I know I've done it, But it was between Diane Corns and the homie information man, info man. I Yeah, I have to admit, I saw Diane Corns. I'm like, man, she's hot. And I just scrolled down, the videos on her channel, and I saw him. Like, oh, cool, Info Man. You know, that's the homie. Like I got to check this out. So I'm listening to this conversation, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of felt some kind of way. I mean, um, I admire both of these people. I think Infoman really was trying to explain things that I think Miss Corns, who is very intelligent, I'm not going to say that she doesn't know things, but I have to admit, Miss Corns, if you're watching this, I'm not trying to go in on you, but I'm going to be honest. I felt that she was being dismissive. When you mention class and all that stuff, when it comes to racism, that's two separate things. That's two separate situations. Um, and yes, it could play into it, but racism is its own specific um, thing. And I have to add this too. We just didn't so happen to be put in a certain category. Think about it. I have to say this, Miss Diane Corns. I don't know if you know anything about Bacon's Rebellion. That right there was just something that, unfortunately, white people during that time could not let happen again. So they made this racial stratification. Um, they did target us even before that for slavery because for some reason, the natives got sick. They couldn't work. The white people did not want to work, and the Irish that they had basically blended into white. So they targeted us based on race because of that. I mean, it was just like, okay, well, these Africans basically, are stronger and, they could work the fields and all that stuff. And they targeted us based on that. I also have to mention the native people here knew the land, so they easily could hide. Um, but even getting back to Bacon's rebellion, that rebellion was specifically, um, it was a mixed revolt. Yeah, there were whites and blacks, overthrowing the upper class, that class system that you're talking about. But because they didn't want that to happen, they further racialized it. And they didn't want the Irish to rebel with the blacks. So they just basically made it to where the Irish were the overseers of black slaves and basically creating the white category. That was the beginning of that. And then it went on and on and on, with the Italians and the Greeks and so on. Also, one thing I have to mention, Miss Corns, is that there's always been a racial pecking order worldwide. There is a pyramid. I'm thinking about doing a video on this because I've actually looked up this pyramid. I've seen documentaries on racism that mentions this pyramid. This is not a conspiracy thing. This actually happened. And it established a lot of things in the society based on race. You, in a sense, even alluded to this. I liked your explanation of white supremacy and systematic racism, but you cannot get away from those terms. You cannot get away from racism, even in an economic and class thing. Race trumps class in this regard, too. And I'm saying this, look, check this out. I understand what you mean by speaking things into existence and putting out bad energy and good energy. I do agree with that. One thing that I could say is that many black people have done that. Do you think Dr. King was throwing out bad energy? Do you think Ida B. Wells was throwing out bad energy? Do you think Philando Castile was throwing out bad energy? Or Sandra Bland? Info Man was making a point. He wasn't being scared of anything. He was just telling you the reality of what a lot of us have gone through. And look, check this out. I have friends from everywhere, and I have no problem with that. I have white, black, Hispanic friends, you know, and that's, I mean, when you mention Hispanic, that's like a mix of everybody, but just with a Latin culture. Asian, you name it. People from Africa, people from here. I literally have friends all over the world, you know, mainly because of what I do and just, you know, and what I'm into as far as music and all that and in the arts. And I have no problem with that. You know, like I have no problem with dealing with so many different kinds of people because I've dealt with them all my life. My parents brought me up that way too. And I'm still that way. But I'll tell you this, I did learn, you know, a lot just about racism, even in that. I would bear to differ when it comes to, I don't mind associating with white people, black people, anyone and everyone, you know, because I mean, even with what I do that. I have no problem with that. So I'm not speaking as a person that is tribal in that sense. You know, I've always felt, you know, that I don't know, like that's just me. So, but I don't ignore racism. I mean, I've been in circles where this has happened, and I see the differences of just how, you know, people approach black people, including my own self and my own just instances in life of things that I've learned, even in being in some of the circles that I'm in. And it's taught me a lot. You know, I'm still, you know, I still have a diverse amount of people that I know, and I don't have a problem with that. But I cannot dismiss racism in regards to the system and even how it's affected the way that we all think as people, as black people. To ignore racism, to me, you know, I understand the utopian like way of looking at things, and definitely we all want that. I'm pretty much more on the whole black autonomy thing, to where I want to be able to go where I want to go. I don't care who lives there as long as I'm not being disrespected, because I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm all about black autonomy. No one should be told where they should go. And in regards to that, some people might think that it's controversial. I don't believe in separatism because that just puts more slavery and chains on you. And we've already been through that, but that's another thing. As I said, I believe in autonomy. And autonomy does not disrespect others and keep each other enslaved in that regard, because some people will say, well, anybody can do anything under autonomy. But no, if you believe in true autonomy, you believe that you could respect a person where they are and that they won't respect you. I'm sorry, they won't disrespect you. True autonomy does not make a slave out of anyone. But anyway, not to get off the subject, I didn't mean to go too far off into that, but I think you dismissing racism, Miss Corns, is, I mean, that's problematic for me because, I mean, yeah, you can talk about different generations, but we just had a young lady get stabbed to death by some white supremacists. We just had a man where I live in Long Beach get shot, and the words "fuck all niggers" on the fucking wall. I mean, that's messed up. You know what else? I mean, like, shoot, you just had a dude in Florida get gunned down by some fucking idiot. And this guy is a racist too. I mean, he was known for using racial slurs against people. And the list goes on. This stuff still exists. It's not a class thing. Class is separate. And race has always trumped class. You've had the lowest class of even white people that will look down on you. And I'm sorry, there's been other races that have fed into that pecking order, because they're all in betweens. The whites are on top and other races are in between in that sense. And they've, unfortunately, many, have used that, whether they realize they're doing it or not. But it's like an unsaid thing for assimilation, I mean, it happened with a lot of people at Ellis Island, and they learned real quick, to look down on blacks. Here's two books I think you should read. One, I mean, if you ever get a chance, like, of course, I mean, I don't know how many people are cool at Cornell West. Read the book Race Matters, and also read this book, and maybe you're more accepting of this, who knows, by this guy named Andrew Hacker. Actually, this dude is white, believe it or not. Not that that means anything, but I'm surprised that he wrote the book that he did called Two Nations. And I mean, and of course we have Neely Fuller. I mean, there's so much stuff written about this, and just how this stuff is pervasive. And for you to deny that, I don't understand it. Like, I do get the positive mental attitude thing. Yeah. I believe that. And it goes along with my faith as an Orthodox Christian and the kind of punk rocker I am, because positive groups like black punk rock band, the Bad Brains, instilled that in me as well. That PMA, that positive mental attitude. I get that and I understand it. But that doesn't mean that we're oblivious to things that are happening. Infoman made a great point. He says he doesn't know whether he's going to get killed or not. And he's been harassed. I've been harassed by cops. I was put in the back of a car once, told that I had drugs on me. I've never done drugs a day in my life. I mean, people think that I'm straight edge. I don't consider myself straight edge because, sorry, you guys, the lights. Man, I hate this thing. Let me fix this light. I don't consider myself straight edge because occasionally I drink, but I'm not I don't get drunk or anything like that. Like, I don't like getting drunk. Sorry, you guys, technical difficulties. There we go. But yeah, these guys, I didn't know what was going to happen. I was in my head crossing my hands. Here I am in the back of a car with some cuffs on with my shoes off, them throwing everything out of my car, telling me I had drugs on me and that I came out of a project. And the thing is, I had actually asked these clowns for directions because of a freeway, and they accused me of some stuff. And I'm like, oh, Lord, what happened? And they let me go, surprisingly, thank God. But I didn't know what they were going to do, because I've heard of instances where they planned stuff on people and, they could easily kill you. You don't know. You just don't know. You never know. And I've seen things that would probably make you not even believe it. This is after civil rights. This is freaking the 80s, when I was coming up, and even in the 90s. And I don't think that I should even tell you guys or tell you how much stuff has gone down. I've never been a criminal like information man says as well. I've never done drugs. I've never done anything like that. But things like that have happened. And it could happen because just the color of your skin. I don't want to blame the fact that you're female and that you probably have not experienced that, because there's been females that I've seen beat by cops. I mean, I understand where information man's coming from. And yeah, we differ on some things, but I definitely, I get where he's coming from with that. And I totally agree with him when it comes to that aspect of being black. You know, I myself, I, you know, I believe in that utopian thing, but I'm not going to dismiss, you know, the history, and not only the history, but how it leads up to now with black people. And Miss Corns, you seem like a very intelligent person, but I think you're being dismissive. You just don't want to call it what it is. It's racism, classism, and all that stuff. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from in that, but I have to disagree with you because it's specific. It's specifically on race. You cannot take racism out of the equation when it comes to people being targeted this way. And even now, like I gave you examples of even things that are happening now. You got a government calling us black identity extremists because we just are recognizing who we are as black people. You have, just a lot of bad stuff, man. Like there's still things that black people and I'm sure Info Man could tell you more than I could. They'll go to jail for twice and get a harsher sentence than even white people. I'm not disparaging all white people or anything like that. I do believe that there are white people that are not racist. Some want to know how to fight against that. But I have to agree with information man that there's a lot of them that have benefited from this system. It's a heavy thing. And being that, I know people that really have good intentions of different races, so I'm coming kind of from a different angle than he is with that. I work with so many different people. I have people that I'm associated with of different races, and I'll tell them the same thing that I'm telling you right now. I just told a friend of mine from the UK, a really close friend of mine. She's, her race she's a mixed race Asian lady. We've been friends for years, her and my family. And I told her straight up, like just a lot of the things that many of us have gone through, and I know that she's done a lot of great things for people, So I'm not speaking on a thing where it's just like a negative thing and just like I'm in fear and blaming anybody. I'm telling you because it's the reality that a lot of us see. And it doesn't mean that you have to be down. It just means that you have to move forward like you said that you were doing. But moving forward does not mean that you ignore the reality of our surroundings. And for a long time, there's things when I was probably younger that I didn't know back then that I know now. But still, I'm moving forward, and I'm going to always speak about what I speak about. You come on my Facebook page anytime. You'll see that, like just, and it's a diverse amount of people and stuff. But the thing is, I'm still saying the same thing about black issues, whether people agree with me or not, because our issues are, they're not considered as much as a lot of other people's issues. That's the way I feel. But as long as we consider them, that's what matters even more so. We have to consider our issues enough to not only not be silent about it, to be vocal about it, but also to be proactive and just do for what we need to do with our autonomy, and do for self, DIY that, So I do believe in that resilience that our people have, and our ancestors have given us, and we're still rolling through it. But I'm not gonna say. I mean, you got to keep in mind they never dismissed the system that they're in, ever. Keep that in mind. We as black people cannot dismiss the system that we're in. We cannot call it anything different. We call it what it is. Racism, white supremacy, that's what it is. And I understand what you mean by, well, white people back then is not the white people of today, but as Information Man said, a lot of them do benefit, as a whole, benefit from the legacy of slavery, unfortunately, and have things that they that we've built. Even we never got to benefit from that. So you have to understand that it doesn't mean that you hate on cats. You hate the actions of this system and you want to overthrow and dismantle the system, but it means you recognize the reality enough for you to not only learn about it, but to learn how to dismantle this thing. And we as blacks have to learn that. And as far as white people and other races, I'll tell them, you really need to understand the history, like our history, to know where we're coming from. And just, I know some that are very open to listen. A lot of them will say they don't know what to do. And, it's not up to them, it's up to us. And I mean, shoot. It's with us now, it's like many of us just don't trust any other race because of just how hurt we've been by them. There's only a few of us, that, like for me, I don't mind working with people to get the justice that we need, and I'm used to working with not only my people, but other people. So, I mean, in the circles that I'm in, even the group that I'm a part is very diverse. And from where I grew up, which some people would say is a rough area, it's the same area that Snoop Dogg grew up in. But the thing is, I don't mean to be long-winded, and I'm probably going to end this soon. You cannot ignore anything. You can't ignore that. Good vibes or not, whatever energy is or not. I mean, the sun shines on good and evil. But the thing is, what are you going to do with that sunshine? What are you going to do? I ask myself this because I could always do better with the sunshine. And I need to shine like the sun because the sun shines on us. And, there is evil present. That's what I'm saying. And unfortunately, a lot of that evil racially has been on us. I don't look at it as an even distribution of racism, because racism is a thing of power. You even mentioned this. And it's not just class. It is racial. It's economic, but the whole thing out on top of that, it's racial. Info Man mentioned redlining. I mean, redlining is just one of many different examples of that. And just how wealth was wrenched from us anyway, even though, our ancestors worked for it. A lot of us have worked, and even, many of us has gone to military with, and all that, and just paid into this system, but never have gotten things back like that. It's just not cool. Anyways, I'm gonna just end it right here. I thought it was a good discussion. Shout out to Info Man, that's the homie. And Miss Corns, I had already subscribed to you before I found that video. If you'd like to talk to me, that'd be cool. Like, if it'd be cool if all of us, you, me, Info Man, and like a bunch of other cats could talk about this. There won't be any insults or anything like that. Anyways, peace and shout out to all of you guys. Peace. I'm out. It's hot too, and I need to go to sleep.